Hey there, sculpting friends. I just wanted to tell you about one of our favorite projects for this time of year, and it's the Wintertime Toddler. And what I actually begin with is I sculpt a shape like this that's around our wire armature. And you can see it's basically your doll shape. We're all ready to go. And then when you add the clothing on, it's just a matter of gluing it in place. But really you just need a basic body shape, the gloves, and the little boots. And then to sculpt your face when you get around to that part. And then a lot of the cuteness for these dolls just comes from the little bits and pieces of material that we use to make these darling little outfits. Cute little vest with little furry hat, little scarf. I love these little attachments to the hat. And then here's one that just has a different type of hat as well and a different kind of scarf. But you can do so much with just a few bits of fabric and either make them matching or have them look unique from each other. I tend to like the redheads apparently because I make a lot of those, but they just turned out so darling. Anyway, we've got a sculpt box for you that will teach you just how to make these dolls, and it actually comes with your handmade eyes here, as well as the fabrics that you need and the clay involved, etc. So it's a great project. It's simple, very similar to our sugar plum fairy type fairy, except this one is probably a little bit less advanced because a lot of it can just be covered up and the shapes don't have to be as perfect. Whereas, for instance, if this was going to be a sugar plum fairy, you'd want the body to look as nice as this one does and to be the right proportions. But when you're putting the clothes on them, you've got a bit of leeway. So I recommend this as an excellent beginner kit to work with, as well as one for advanced folk that just want to make a bunch of these little dolls because they make wonderful gifts. All right, a fun project to do this time of year in the wintertime is these Wintertime Toddlers. And here's what a finished doll looks like. They're just pretty adorable. They've got closable arms, so those can move. And the legs are stationary. Now this is what they look like on the inside. And so as far as sculpting goes, this is all you have to do. It's just the basic body shape, then the shoes and the gloves, and then of course the head, which is the most important part. So now what I want to do is just kind of compare it to this other one that I did. She's a bit bigger, so I'm going to want to make this head I'm working on next a bit smaller. And how I do my heads, so I just start with a piece of aluminum foil and I crunch it up, except not very hard. And I want this to be about 1/4 of an inch all around smaller than the head that we've created here. So here I've got some clay, and it was actually on another doll, another Grinch that I was going to make, but I decided to just do the one. And so this has been sitting for a little while, just out in the open. And so what I'm needing to do is just really squish it together and help it get warmed up and nice and smooth again. If you have any trouble with older clay, you can also add a little bit of smoothing oil to it as well, and that will help it to soften up. All right, so basically what I want from this is just a ball shape that I am then going to flatten out and then put on the back of this head. Looks like it's still a little bit cracky, so I'm just gonna kind of take my hands for a minute and smooth it all out, but you get the gist of this. I basically want a hard back side of the head that will serve as my armature. And I'm going to go ahead and bake this, and then I'm going to then do the sculpting for the front of the face. And I want to go ahead and put a sculpting stick inside of here, and I'm going to let the clay wrap around it just a little bit, so it's going to stay in there quite a bit, but I can yank it out if I need to later. All right, so as soon as I get that all smoothed out, I'm gonna pop it in the oven for about 15 minutes and then let it cool, and then we'll go back to the next step. But here you can see how it is compared to her. Quite a bit smaller, but that's also because this head is gonna be just a bit smaller than that one was too. So that's how it's looking here. All right, so we'll bake that and be right back showing you the next step. All right, now to get these eyes ready, what I like to do is just take some scissors or wire cutters and just cut them out just like this. When we make these eyes, we put this little backing on it just to kind of make the process easier to do. And so I need to remove it when we go to use them, but it takes just under a minute. All right, there we go. All right, and I usually like to rub them on my material. Just kind of like rub it on some material like this so it kind of glosses up the eyes a little bit. However, they'll get oil from the clay on them, and then at the end we'll clean them up again too. All right, so then the next thing I'm going to do is just be putting a piece of clay over this whole front, because this is going to be the face. And then this back I've baked with a heat gun, and it's nice and hard. And so that's also a place I can hold on to if I need to, and it will help keep the roundness of the whole head. All right, so we take our thumb and make an indentation. And I'm going to try to even this out a little bit because this right side is a little bit heavy. And now on these dolls I tend to do a little bit wider eyes. Okay, so I'm just making a space with the back side of my paintbrush here to get these eyes in. I want to give them plenty of space and then sink them in there pretty well. And the main thing is you want to try to get them going the same direction here. All right, those look pretty good so far. What I want to do is kind of fill in the side though. And then over the top. And then underneath, give it a little bit more the cheekbone there too. Okay, now I want to have this left side be just a little bit thicker. Because right now it's a little bit flatter than our right side. There we go. We just want to kind of shape that eye a little bit. And then smooth these pieces back together. And the same here. I want to kind of smooth these together as well. Now we're going to smooth these areas with my thumbs. All right, we're adding some extra clay here for the nose. It's nice to see what we've done on a previous demo. This face is going to be a little bit smaller. Now I don't want it to be like a complete right angle back into the face, so I'm going to kind of taper it up from the bottom of the nose. And then for these lips, I'm going to do the same sort of thing. Bring it in place. And then we need to add some more for the chin here. Now you want to make sure all these places like that get really smoothed in well. This one needs some attention. I want my chin and the bottom lip to be out just a little bit further than what they are right now. So I'm just letting the edge of this little pancake be the bottom lip. And I'm pushing in to indent a little bit for where the chin will be. Alright, she looks a little sad right now, like she's gonna cry. I'll have to get my other tool. So far I've just been using my wooden tool to do all this. and my thumb, which is my favorite tool that I never lose. Okay, I'll have to get the rest of my tools and then fix her up a bit, but that's a good starting point. Now if we just add these little indents right here, we can turn her frown upside down pretty easily. All right, I'm adding a little bit more on the forehead here, so it's gonna poke out a little bit before it dips back into the bridge of the nose here. My mouth got a little bit lopsided, so I need to kind of push it this way. Now I need to get this all smoothed back in again. Just like the look of a fuller lip, so I'm going to add a little bit more clay right here. And then I'm just going to press in my tool for some eyelids. And then neaten them up with a finer tool. There we go, that's looking better. Now she's going to be having a hat go over her on the sides, so we don't need to worry about ears because the hat's going to be glued on. That's why this little doll is a really great one, because there's a lot of shortcuts you can take with it. Alright, so I'm going to go through it with some smoothing gel and get it smoothed out nicely, and then also add just a few more little details to make that face look really nice. Alright, I did a little bit more detail work on this. She still needs to have the brushing done, and that will soften it up even more. But I'll save that for the next video when I finish her up. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.